Welcome back to the KickNPost YouTube channel, and today we'll be discussing the fight card UFC 276 coming up tomorrow, July 2nd, headlined by Israel Adesanya versus Jared Cannonier, and also the trilogy fight of Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski. I'll give you guys some of the fights I see with potential for fireworks, some of the fights that I could see winning Fight of the Night bonuses, and some of the prize pick lines, link in the description, PrizePicks, that I like and dislike going into this fight card. Please like, subscribe, share, comment if you disagree with me on some of my picks, and let's get into this video. This is one of few cards that have very interesting names on the prelim and early prelims. We have Ian Gary taking on Gabe Green, 9-0 Ireland prospect, Irish prospect. Of course, everybody gives him shades of Connor. I honestly believe Ian Gary is going to come out to make a statement. They have his fight time, I think, at 10 minutes set on PrizePicks. I'm taking the under on that. Feel like he comes out, tries to knock out Gabe Green in 2 rounds. If not, Gabe Green is a heavy puncher as well. Could end really quickly for Ian if he doesn't play his cards right. I don't see this being a 3-round fight. I don't see it going all the way, and I'm interested and very ready to see how both fighters perform, and I feel like this fight will be one that provides a lot of fireworks. Also, interesting name on the prelims, not even prelims, early prelims, Macy Barber. Once touted as a prospect that could become the youngest UFC champion in the history of the sport. After John Jones has that record, she was on a tear in her early years, but injury and a recent loss has derailed her from that path. This is her opportunity to kind of start her redemption arc. She's fighting Jessica Eye on the early prelims, which means no paywall, so the entire world gets to watch. They have her prize pick line at 1.5 takedowns. I love that line. I feel like she's going to get back to what she knows best, which is the ground game, and she's going to realize she's not really the striker that she's being made out to act like. We know striking sells, but at this point in time, her ground game is what's elite. So I feel like she's going to shoot for the takedowns against Jessica Eye and try to get herself back in the win column and hopefully build some momentum to start picking up more steam. Right? There's other names on this prelim, like Donald Cerrone stepping in on short notice to fight a guy like Jim Miller. Both guys are vets in the game. Both guys have 16 losses. I believe Donald Cerrone will do enough to give Jim Miller that 17th loss. We have a guy like Uriah Hall also fighting on the prelims. It's a very interesting prelim in general for you guys who don't want to really shell the money out for the pay-per-view. There's still very fun fights to watch on this free prelim and early prelim part of the card. Now, once we start talking main card, we hop into Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley's fighting Pedro Munoz, one of the bigger tests since he's been in the UFC. Cheeto Vera is shaping up to be his biggest test since he's been there. His only loss, according to O'Malley. He's been on a tear since that win. In my opinion, Cheeto Vera should be up next to fight for the belt, which says a lot about O'Malley, who was looking really good in the early round of that fight before Cheeto Vera hit him with a very technical, some call it lucky, but a very technical calf kick that led to pretty much a dead leg syndrome on Sean O'Malley, leading to a quick stoppage after Cheeto Vera was able to pounce on that injury. I feel like O'Malley's going to perform very well against Pedro Munoz. Too fast, too tall, very accurate with his punches. They have a significant strike line, I'm pretty sure, of 100.5 significant strikes. I love that for O'Malley. He throws punches in bunches. Very high velocity, volume puncher. I'll take the over on that significant strike. And if he wins this, I feel like he should push to get that rematch against Vera. I know he's looking at bigger bags, more money, fights that'll bring in more revenue. But if I'm him, and for the legacy of me, I'd want to get back the loss that pretty much cost me to lose a lot of steam. And any questions people have about Sean O'Malley as a prospect pretty much arose from that one fight. Everything was positives. Even up to now, he's been able to erase some of the negative connotation of how he fights. But everything that was negative about him as a prospect kind of came in from that fight. People saying he's injury prone. People saying he's too small. Pretty came out of that fight, came out of that loss. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs against Pedro. I have him winning, and I think it'll be a good step for him to call out Vera next if he wins. The next fight on the card, Robbie Lawler, 40-year-old vet. Um, Unlike most guys his age, where I feel like they're made to be gatekeepers, I think they're throwing him a lob here. He's getting a prospect that hasn't performed well against the top of the division. I feel it's almost handpicked to kind of get him back in his groove, get him back on a positive win streak, get him back winning fights. And in my opinion, I think he will do just that. They have a significant strike set at a number that's under 80 significant strikes. I like that number for a couple reasons. One, I feel like he could put the lights out on a guy like Brian Barberina. I feel like it's not out of the norm for Robbie Lawler, the savage he is. We've seen him go in there and fight with the best to put his lights out. Also, I don't think Robbie's much of a volume puncher. So I think his line is roughly like 73.5. I'm good hitting the under on that. I could see Robbie Lawler winning this fight with under that easily. And it's a 3-round fight. I don't think it's going to be a ton of significant strikes thrown. So give me the under on Robbie Lawler's significant strikes, and give me Robbie Lawler as the winner of this fight. Next is, in my opinion, the best fight on the card. And I know it's crazy for me to say when you have guys like Izzy versus Cannonier, which we discussed in must-see UFC fights, card up on my right shoulder or my left shoulder. And I know also we have Alexander versus Max, part 3 on this card. And I think those guys have seen each other for 10 straight rounds, so it'll lead to an interesting fight, but it won't be as much electric as this one. I am on board for the Sean Strickland versus Alex Pereira fight. Alex Pereira, only 2 fights in the UFC, but a very decorated kickboxing career, and still the only man in mixed martial arts / kickboxing to knock out current middleweight champ Israel Adesanya. This clip has been replayed over and over and over again. Adesanya has been asked a ton of times about how this affected him going forward, his trajectory. In my opinion, it's the reason why the UFC called Pereira to join the organization. And Pereira, off of 2 fights in the UFC, one, his debut, which electrifying knockout, and then he had a decision win right after. There's talks of if he wins this fight against Sean Strickland, he'll get the next shot at the belt. And we all know it's for the money. We all know it's for the storyline that could be sold. Is he trying to bring back the win against a guy who, 1, beat him by decision, and 2, knocked him out? Last time Izzy's been knocked out, and only time I think in his career Izzy's been knocked out, trying to get that back. It's a huge selling point. They could do a lot of pay-per-view numbers just selling that storyline. But in my opinion, Sean Strickland has other plans. This man is a psycho. This man is a savage. You can see in a lot of these clips, he'll walk you down, right? And he's willing to put himself in harm's way to cause damage. I think most of these guys are going to stand in there and bang. They have the takedowns set at 2, if I'm not mistaken, for Sean Strickland. I would take the under on that. I don't see Sean Strickland striking. I feel like Sean Strickland feels disrespected, that after 2 fights, they're going to give Alex Pereira him in hopes that they could sacrifice Sean Strickland so that Pereira could do huge numbers, hopefully get an electrifying knockout against Strickland, and immediately be catapulted to fight the champ. I think Strickland believes, hey, if I take away your guys' Wonder Boy, if I knock out the guy you guys are setting up to fight, Izzy, I should get that championship belt opportunity. I should get that shot at the champ. Everything Izzy is saying is whoever comes out of that fight will probably be next up. So I think that also leads to why this fight is one of the more electrifying ones on the card. This is another fight I don't see going all 3 rounds. They have a fight time, I think, of about 10 minutes again on this one. If not, it's like 12.5 minutes. I'm taking the under on that as well. I think this fight does not break 7 minutes at all. I like the under in significant strikes also because I feel like somebody's going to get put out early. And then that leaves the 2 biggest fights on the card. Max v. Alex. I love Alex's takedown number 2. As I said, I believe that both these fighters have seen each other so often that the game plan has to change. And I feel like Max is going to come in there as a real heavy volume puncher and try to get Alex out of there. And once the pressure becomes very heavy, Alex is going to go out there and shoot. And I feel like 2 takedowns are easy. I feel like he's going to go at those legs and try to keep some ground control when Max tries to get really heavy with his reach advantage and try to mix it up boxing wise. I still don't think Alex is able to stand with Max, even though they've made it 10 rounds without getting put out. It sounds like Max is on a mission on this one. Max realized he can't win a decision fight against Alex. It's been proven back to back. He lost the belt on points. He lost the chance to retain the belt on points, with that second fight drawing a lot of controversy. But I do believe he's going to come in there with hurtful intentions, and Alex is going to have to pivot, and he will shoot. So 2 takedowns is too low of a number. Hit the over on Alex Volkanovski takedowns. And, of course, we have Izzy versus Cannonier. And they have the champ throwing a ton of significant strikes as well. His line's right up here on the card. I don't remember exactly what it is. All I know is you give Izzy a heavy-hitting, somewhat slow, not counter-striking type of opponent, and that plays right into his hand. I feel like Jared Cannonier will get counter-striked, will get outpointed, and at some point, Izzy's going to turn the switch on, speed the hits up, and get him out of there. This is not going 5 rounds. Jared Cannonier will get put out, unfortunately. I don't see it going long enough for Izzy to hit his significant strike total, so I am taking Izzy's under on the significant strikes. So these are all my picks. These are all I like for UFC 276. I think this will be the best card of the year to this point. I am very excited about these fights. I hope you guys are too. If you like my picks, if you like what I've said in this video, and you think, you know what, he's making a little bit of sense, let me tell those picks. Go ahead, hit that link in the description, prizepicks.com/ADT from JA, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be right in the description below. You should get a 100% deposit match if you hit that link, and have some fun picking the MMA with me. All right? Hope you guys tune into the fights tomorrow. Hope you guys win some bread with PrizePicks, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you guys on the next UFC vid. Peace.